Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Got a great question in from viewer Mike Fretwell, and he's wondering, will the camera revert back to factory settings if the battery's left out for an extended period of time? Now, Mike's talking, I believe, specifically about the Sony a6000, but this is a good question for any camera out there because I'm sure a lot of people have wondered this. The short answer is no. In all my years of photography and all the tons of cameras I've owned and been borrowed and been lent and shot with, just a lot of them, I've never seen that happen. Now, the caveat here is that I've also probably never let any of them sit for several years. So I'm talking in the short term, probably, up to a year. Basically, the battery, the main battery, could decharge, but it's not going to affect your camera settings because there's an internal battery, there's an internal clock battery, if you want to call it that. The other term for it is, I looked it up here because I wasn't sure exactly what they called it, but it's a charge storage device, or they call it a super cap for super capacitor. So one of those two will be in the camera to keep the clock and the date and time constant and to keep them set at the right time, even when your camera battery is out of the camera or if it's sitting for a while and loses its charge. So it takes a long time for those two to lose their charge. I've never seen it happen. I'm sure somebody out there has. If you've seen it happen, leave a comment below, let us know. But basically, it'll be a long time. We're talking over a year, possibly 2 to 3 years or longer before you're going to see those devices lose their charge, and then your camera's going to lose its settings and revert back to factory settings. At that point, that's a good question too, because I've never seen a camera revert back to factory settings unless you intentionally do that. I know it will probably, I've seen the date and time drift, and that happens. Just some cameras don't hold them well. I used to always double check before I went out to shoot a wedding that I have my camera synced, because almost always, just in a period of a few days or a week, the time would drift between the two bodies, two identical bodies. So that's always a good thing to do if you're going out something time critical, that you want the timestamp perfect, and you're using one or in this situation with the weddings, it was 2 bodies or more. You want to sync your bodies, but also check your time. Make sure your time hasn't drifted a little bit off the exact time, if that's something that's critical to you. So the short answer is no, certainly not in the foreseeable future that most of us would be picking up our camera again, giving the battery another recharge, because those internal batteries or that charge capacitor, it is going to recharge itself from a fresh battery in the camera slowly. It's not a big drain. But so you shouldn't really ever see this happen. If you're letting your camera sit on the shelf for 5 or 10 years, maybe it will. And at that point in time, feel free to come back to the video, leave some comments, and let us know what happened. But in general, especially with regular use, you're never going to see it happen. And certainly with just, even hobbyist use, where you might not pick the camera up for a few months, you'll probably never notice anything either, not even your date and time resetting themselves. The time might be off a little bit depending on the camera itself, but you can check that. Anyways, what do you guys think? Do your experiences mimic mine? Have you never seen this happen with a camera? Some of you have probably seen what I said, where you've seen the time shift and possibly even the date over a long enough period of time. But I would suspect that most of you have never seen a camera revert back to factory settings. Certainly, if you have, let us know in the comments below. If your experience differs from mine, let us know. If you've seen it revert, let us know. Anyways, I hope that helps you out there, Mike. And thanks very much for the question. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com. And don't forget to check out our Instagram channel, which is The Art of the Image. We're also on Twitter at Art of the Image. I signed up for Instagram too late to get the actual Art of the Image. So on Instagram, it's The Art of the Image, and on Twitter, it's Art of the Image. Thanks for tuning in, folks.